Leo, hello, Amanda here. Welcome to Unseen Hands Healing. This is going to be your October shift reading. So we are looking at the shape you're shifting out of in October, the shape you shift into, and what that shape shift looks and feels like. Leo. Okay. Wild things are happening. First of all, the image that's coming to me before we pull cards is the end of 2001: A Space Odyssey by Stanley Kubrick. If you haven't seen it, see it. But because it's too difficult for me to describe, but essentially the main character goes through a completely cosmic, transcendent experience of his own human existence. All right. So how that is feeling for you, Leo, it feels like you're being pulled out of your body, like you're leaving your body, having some sort of major astral shift, like energetic shift, spiritual shift, cosmic shift. It feels really, really big. And then like the image of then your spirit, your energy body, like re-entering your body so fast. And then all I saw was this like laser beam of truth hitting you right between the eyes. And it's like this glaring truth that's been there the whole time, but you had to kind of like leave your body and then be thrown out of your body and then thrown back in to see it. Like it's a really intense spiritual journeying experience. And then as I was pre-shuffling all of your decks, including the decks for the extended reading, this came out of the Dark Exact. And what's weird about it is as I was shuffling, this was just, I split the deck and this was on the bottom. I split the deck to shuffle. Okay. And when I split the deck here, you get both cards underneath, and this was turned face down like this. So I split the deck and it was like that. And I thought that was strange. And then I tipped it over and it's the Ace of Swords, which really has not been a prominent feature in any of the readings so far. So I don't know how it got flipped like that, but I think it's important. And I think it's exactly the energy of what I'm getting for you, Leo. This just like glaring truth right between the eyes. Like, wow, that truth has been there the whole time. And I'm just now seeing it, or I'm just now experiencing it fully. And you kind of had to go on this spiritual experience, this like transcendent understanding to be able to, I think, see it in a very clear, concrete, human truth type way. We're going to leave this out and see where the cards take us now. We are using the Slow Holler deck. And we're going to start by asking, what is the shape that Leo is shifting out of in October? Okay, good. 9 of Knives. Worries, anxieties, fears, confusion, stress, major mental overload, overthinking, worrying, stressing to the max. Okay, nervous system very activated in the 9 of Knives. Not being able to sleep. Anxieties surfacing, a very difficult experience of the mind, which is interesting because we're working with the Ace of Swords, which is clarity. Simple, clear. Here's how I'm feeling it. The 9 of Knives, look at all those knives in the skull. This card is chaotic, it's confusing. It spins around and round in circles and splatters all over the place. It's too crowded in the mind. When the truth comes out like this, it's simple. Everything else goes silent. And it just resonates. You know, it resounds. It has this incredibly powerful ability to silence all of this energy. Because the truth comes in and it's just like, pow. And all of this disappears. And maybe, Leo, part of that exact way of looking at the cards is coming through because when you're in this energy, it can be very difficult to know what the truth is because there seems to be all of these truths bombarding and creating confusion and chaos. Maybe part of the advice here already is how you sort through this energy is to find the idea, the notion, the perspective that comes in and clears all of that stress, worry, chaos. It's like, what would be the truth that would clear all that nonsense? That's perhaps what October is bringing forward. Sheesh, I hope so. I'm feeling 6 of Swords energy, which is energy of transition, moving on mentally, making a shift, movement into greater mental emotional balance. What is the shape Leo is shifting into in October? So much intensity in this reading. Yay! Yes! There's your shapeshift, Leo. 9 of Swords to the Sun. We couldn't ask for a better transition. This is your card in the tarot, you peacock. Look at that. The peacock just able to sport its feathers like, this is me, this is who I am, in my full self-expression, in like full bloom, sunflower, in like, you know, the sun comes out and everything is illuminated. And that's exactly what the Ace of Swords delivers. Full illumination. And I think, Leo, that illumination, the sun returning in your experience will feel like a return to self. Because again, this is your card in the tarot. You're going to feel like yourself again. That's what it feels like. This truth, this clarity helps you feel like yourself again. And I think because of the crown here, I'm feeling it helps you feel powerful again. The lion, the king of the jungle. What does this shapeshift look and feel like for Leo in October? One more. Okay, you're getting your card again, which is your other card in the Major Arcana. Oh my, and the 6 of Swords. Holy moly. Yep. I was feeling that really, really strong. Really, really strong. Okay, here's your shift. I love it because it's even like the color palette is shifting really beautifully. Leo. So it's interesting because it's like, okay, the Ace of Swords is here. The truth is coming in and illuminating and hopefully it looks like clearing out all of the anxiety that is chaotically crowding your mental experience. And then the Ace of Swords of clarity, illumination comes in and brings this sort of bing right between the eyeballs, laser beam clarity. Ooh, it's crisp, it's pristine. It's so good. And it's like, what is that illuminating, Leo? Another 9. The 9 of Branches, the Strength card, which is your other card in the Major Arcana. So we have both the Sun and Strength showing up for you, Leo, which is again reiterating the point to me that this is a return to self, a feeling like you are returning to yourself. It's good. And then the 6 of Swords, which is that card of get in the car, time to go, right? Get in the boat, we're moving on. We are moving on. And it's like, what are you moving on from? You're moving on from this. I should say you're moving on from this. Staying, you know, the 9 of Wands, I'm seeing this more as the traditional tarot meaning of having stayed too long. Like that's kind of how I interpret that card is you realize you've stayed in an energy or continued to engage in a situation that is harmful to you for too long. Even if that's something, even if that's as personal as You have engaged with your anxiety in this specific way that exhausts you mentally, physically, and brings you to the end of your rope. You've engaged with that energy for too long. And it's time to move on. It's time to mentally shift, because you can't sustain this kind of this experience of self that is so based in fear and anxiety and worry. It's like, this is untenable. When it gets to the 9 of Wands, this mental experience of the 9 of Swords is going to affect your vitality. It's going to affect your life force, your chi, however you want to say that, the blood that courses through you. It's going to drain you. This kind of worrying. You can't keep going with that. And that's what this reading is really saying. And it's interesting too that we see reishi mushrooms. Reishi are incredibly, I just saw 1111. A gateway to healing, actually, is what I'm hearing with that, because reishi is an incredibly healing mushroom. It's a mushroom that has the power to restore vitality, and it's colloquially sort of referred to as a fountain of youth, because it can restore cells that are aging or turning against themselves and help to bring back the fresh aliveness and the fresh vitality. And that's exactly what I'm talking about, because this 9 of Swords feels like a turning against the self, which is why the Strength and the Sun card are coming out to signal a return to self. The truth, the clarity, the Ace of Swords, boom, hitting you right between the eyes, I think is illuminating the ways. Listen, there's so many external circumstances in our personal and political and global lives right now, social lives, that warrant a 9 of Swords type reaction, that warrant anxiety, worries, fears, and stress. So I'm not saying it's not without cause, but I think the illumination is coming in with, okay, when have you stayed too long in this energy? How are you engaging with this energy? Is this energy that is absolutely anxiety producing, causing self-harm? When does it teeter into self-harm, and what are your coping mechanisms around this? It's really spiky, intense energy. But again, healing medicine can grow in these decrepit places, in these spiky experiences of being human. There's tonic here, there's medicine here. And I think what happens now, strength. You find your own inner strength. Here we see someone going down into the cave, down into the depths alone, lighting a fire and saying, I'm going to sit here until I am restored. I am going to sit here until I see what I need to see about this situation, until I feel the fire deep within my belly begin to rise up again, until I feel my vitality again, my aliveness, my connection to myself. This is where you go to connect with yourself. Solo, alone, in the cave, in the woods, whatever that is for you, wherever you need to go to tap into your own inner strength, here it is, because you need this now, Leo. This reading is so intense. The energy, like even the way I'm talking about it, is with so much intensity, but it feels that way to me. It contains that much intensity. So you may be feeling really intense, because I'm feeling really intense just engaging with this energy. Now listen, I think you're going to see, it's interesting too, because the Ace of Swords in the spread is right above the Strength card like this. I think you're going to see what you need to see down there. Or out there, where whatever this like alone energy is for you, getting alone, getting in with yourself, you're gonna see what you need to see. That clarity is going to come when you take the time to really reflect with yourself and get real and say, okay, what's going on here? How do I stop this cycle? How do I heal from this? This is not something I can continue to sustain. It is a breaking point. is what it feels like, and a pretty serious one. Mentally, and maybe physically. And then beautifully, then this is where I got excited by the color transitions, because there's a huge energy shift with the Six of Swords into the Sun, and you can even see it represented here. We've got all of these like gray type cards, and then bam, you know, the fire is lit and fuels an explosion of your energy, your fire, a return to self, in, again, a really illuminating, confident, like your power and vitality restored, you're back to yourself, and it feels really, really good. Or maybe even part of this revelation is a revelation of self, you know, like maybe it's both a return to self and a revelation of self that actually leads you to a new you, a new Leo, you know? You know, Mercury is here. This is the glyph, the astrological glyph for Mercury. And Mercury is going to go retrograde. There's a lot of fire energy here with strength in the Sun. Mars is retrograde. Mars is fire energy, action-oriented energy. Mercury is communication energy. Mercury is energy of the mind, our viewpoints, our communication style, all of these things. This is, I think, a major shift for you in terms of maybe the way you engage with your own mental space, the way you talk to yourself, the way you view yourself and your circumstances, and how you react internally. This is a very internal energy. I think it's manifesting physically for some folks, quite possibly, which is why it's like, oh, I need to look at this because my body's starting to feel it. Which is why, again, Reishi is here to say, like, yeah, maybe you need to have some, like, take some steps towards physical healing, you know, like, and again, I'm not an herbalist. I'm not necessarily recommending any specific herb. I do recommend that you consult an herbalist, and I know a great one. Okay. So get in touch. This actually came through in the Gemini energy, and I'm laughing because the herbalist I would recommend to you is also a Leo. So, okay. If you want a fellow Leo herbalist, seriously get in touch. She has really influenced my experience of my health with herbs. So I would love to pass you on to her. But what I'm saying is you may need to take physical measures to restore your health, whether that's like going off on your own and taking some alone time, taking some rest time, because you need to rejuvenate your strength, better nutrition, better health, taking care of your body and taking care of your mind, and the way your mind and your body connect with one another, because I'm telling you, there's a huge revelation here that's going to help you make a shift. Make a mental shift, or maybe even, you know, the Six of Swords can talk about moving on from rough waters to calm waters. And that is true mentally and emotionally, but sometimes we can engage in circumstances in our lives that perpetuate this kind of anxiety. And so sometimes the Six of Swords means moving on from people or circumstances that feed our anxiety, that simply perpetuate an unnecessary stress. And so this could be a physical move. This could be a very palpable, tangible moving on from something that is influencing you in this way. But it's certainly moving on from the way you influence yourself in this way. Maybe both, you know? But again, Leo, I mean, this reading is super intense and a very tough experience of being human. I'll just reiterate that. It's not easy, but man, if you can get on the boat, if you can get in the car and drive out of this difficulty, you end up here in full clarity and illumination. Illumination of self, being able to truly see yourself clearly and express yourself clearly. And that's what we're talking about. That is what we're talking about, Leo. Okay, we got to take this into the extended reading now. I'm going to pull more cards, see if we can get more specific. If you'd like me to join me for that extended, click the link in the description box below and that'll take you to Patreon. Patreon is an online community I've created for folks who like my work and want to dive deeper. If that sounds like you, head over there. Please read the description when you get there so you know how to receive the extended readings from me, and then I'll send you the extended for October. Okay, Leo, take such extra good care of yourself this month. I cannot stress it enough. And I'm being reminded that since I started this channel, June 2019, the same message for Leo has been coming through consistency, which is understanding nurturance in your life. Understanding the people that actually nurture you, what it means to be truly nurtured and to truly nurture yourself. And this reading is no different. Really take care of yourself. Really nurture yourself through whatever this is that you are going through and passing through, recognizing that it will pass. It will pass. Clarity, renewal, revelation, and a rejuvenation of self will come, especially if you nurture yourself through this and nourish. I'm really feeling like with the presence of these mushrooms, nourish your body through this. Okay. All right, Leo, maybe I'll see you for the rest of this reading, but if not, take care. The swords as the bed of nails transforms into the cups of possibility. Okay, so rather than hearing worries, fears, anxieties as probability, suddenly those worries, fears, anxieties, which have become a bed of nails for you to lie on, become possibilities. When you face the truth, whatever that is for you, it's going to be different for everybody. But you face this like glaring truth that hits you right between the eyeballs, and suddenly it's like doors open. The possibilities become imaginable. When you move on, when you decide to really move on from this, rather than, again, the probability of catastrophe being all you can think about, suddenly the possibility of happiness and light and vitality become illuminated.